So you're considering opening a bookstore and you don't know if it's a good idea or not. It feels risky. And I was in your shoes at this time last year. Now we've been open 5 months and I've had a chance to reflect on how well we planned for this big, crazy thing. And I'm confident that you could put the majority of your plan's foundation in place in a week based off of some guidance from people that have done it. And that was hard for me to find when I was where you are right now. It was really difficult for me to find someone that could mentor me on opening an indie bookstore. So let's dive in a bit and talk about what I think are key elements for you to develop a plan for a successful bookstore launch. So I can't cover everything in this video. I mean, there's a lot that goes into not only creating a business plan for a bookstore, but just planning a bookstore in general, which a lot of that is outside of a traditional business plan. And any plan that you put together should reflect the nature of the business that you're starting. I've started other businesses before, but never a brick and mortar and never a bookstore. So this was new to me in a lot of ways, but I carried a lot of experience into my planning because of my time planning other businesses in the past. The format, the location, and the demo are the 3 specific things that I really think you need to have wrapped up because it is your identity as a business. It's what you're going to be, it's who you are to the community, it's who you are to your customers, it's what attracts people to you. Everything kind of revolves around those things. And then you put the pieces together after that. So let's talk about your identity. What is your format? Who are you? What are you going to sell, right? Well, I'm going to be a bookstore. Great. Everyone says that. Are you selling only new books? Are you a used book seller? What types of books are you selling? Every type of book? Are you all nonfiction? Are you like us and you're a fiction specific bookstore? We sell fiction. We sell a lot of genre fiction, historical, literary, sci-fi, thriller, romance, fantasy, horror, kids fiction, YA, teen. Like, we're a fiction bookstore. We sell classic fiction. Our identity is we are a fiction bookstore. I answer that question all the time. Customers come in. So, new bookstore. Cool. Who are you? What do you sell? What do you guys focus on? What makes you different? What they're really asking is, am I the right customer for you? Are you the right bookseller for me? And you have to be able to answer that with confidence when you start planning your bookstore so that when you are open, you can answer that with confidence. I specifically wanted to focus on some of the genre fiction that's really popular right now, and also an escape. I wanted to give people the experience I had when I was young and I fell in love with reading. It was going somewhere. Instead of watching a movie, I was reading a book. It was escapism, it was learning, it was fantastical, it was scary, it was heartbreaking, it was heartwarming. I wanted to give people an experience they could feel. And I wanted to do that with new book sales. I'm not a skilled used book buyer or seller. And this is where I want to draw a line of delineation in the sand for you. This is a question you need to answer for yourself. So, what kind of bookstore are you going to be? Like, what types of books do you want to sell? And do you want to sell new? Do you want to sell used? Or do you want to sell a hybrid of them, like a mix, right? And that is a very important question to answer. Now, you're not necessarily locked into this answer long term, but you could be, right? Once you build a customer base, you might expand into other types. But for me, I knew I wanted to be a new bookseller because that's what I have experience doing. As an author and a publisher, I sell books that are in print right now, current publication. So when I decided to open a bookstore, I had to ask myself, do I want to sell used books? Do I want to sell books that are no longer in print? Do I want to sell books that people have previously owned? And it did not take long for me to realize how involved and how unique that industry is. It is a skill set. It is a unique thing to be a used book buyer and seller. And I could learn that, but I didn't necessarily want to, right? And I didn't necessarily see that as the type of business that I wanted to be to my community anyway. So why invest in working for a used bookseller, which I highly recommend if you want to be in used books. I highly recommend you work for a used bookseller because you have to understand the nuance and the methods behind buying books and selling books when your supplier are other people, like other readers, estate sales, people bringing books into your store to sell to you. That is it. Those are skills that you have to learn. I recommend you learning those from a used bookseller. There's probably resources here on YouTube, I'm sure there are, that can help you with that. But I think experience is a wonderful thing to have before you decide to invest in a business this big. And so I really recommend you pursue working for a used bookseller at some point if that's what you want to do. Now, you could also be a hybrid, right? You could expand your business from being solely selling new books to selling some used books down the road if you want. We have that option available to us. I probably won't take it, but I've considered like selling books used that people bought from us new, right? Like kind of like a trade-in program. If you bought a book from us, you can bring it in within a certain period of time, and as long as it's in like new condition, I could buy it back for a certain amount if it's a high demand item and it's a way for me to restock and then resell that book. So we've considered that, but I'm honestly not very motivated to do that right now because it's not my primary thing. My primary thing for planning purposes on the business plan was selling new books. We're a fiction bookstore. And then we dove into the conversation about what type of store we needed to be, like physically. Are we going to be online? Are we going to be brick and mortar? Are we going to be, most people think brick and mortar. Are we going to work events like conferences and conventions and special events? And are we going to do that outside of our own space, right? Like those are things to consider when you think about the location of your business. Do you want to sell just as much online or more online than you do in-house? Do you want to sell exclusively brick and mortar and not worry about maintaining a website or maintaining an online book selling presence? Because a lot of that comes down to shipping and availability and inventory management, all those things, right? Online, and that being timely and up to date. And I'll dive into that more when I make a video about why I chose the point of sale system and inventory control system that I chose, Shopify, for those that are curious right now. But my business plan, my upfront was I want to be able to sell books in my brick and mortar store. And I want all of those books to also be reflected online on my website for sale. And I am willing to ship them within the domestic US. And I will do that for media mail shipping rates. And that is it. That is as complex as that got on my planning up front. I had been doing that already. I'd been selling books online already as an author and a publisher. So for me, that was just a natural progression. And we'll talk about that and unpack that more in a future video. But for the sake of planning, I knew this is what I wanted to be. It was part of my identity. I'm a brick and mortar bookstore, but I'm also online, and I'm also doing events, certain events. I've done special events where I earned more in one weekend in sales than I have in a month in my brick and mortar. So I was very specific about the types of special events I would be willing to book sell for and with in partnerships. And that takes time. You learn that as you go. And again, I'll unpack that in a future video. But knowing that about my business and knowing that about my goals, I was able to say, I want to be a new bookstore. I want to sell fiction. And I want to also participate in online sales and in events. Great. Business plan coming together as far as the identity of the business. Now, who am I selling books to? Who is my primary demographic? I knew I couldn't serve everybody, but I still had a very broad demo. It's going to be fiction readers. Then who are those people? Who's reading most of this genre fiction? And what I realized was it's mostly women, and they're mostly between the ages of 30 and 65. Now, it doesn't mean I don't have younger readers. It doesn't mean that I don't have older readers. It doesn't mean that I don't have guys walking in here and buying fiction. It just means that my primary demographic were women between the ages of 30 and 65. Now, I could expand that greatly. In this area, we have a college because we have college students. A lot of them are in reading now, right? Like, despite what people will tell you, young people read, okay? And a lot of them read genre fiction. And so I have a very good niche here for those types of customers, and I'm right down the street from a university. So that's part of my demo. It might not be my primary demo. It might not be who's coming through the door most of the day, but it is probably my second strongest demographic are college students who read fiction. and they have a very unique type of fiction that they want, and I carry that. So that's how my demographic inputs on my business plan were influenced by the format I chose. Now, you've heard me mention several times my location. I'm within a half mile of a Barnes & Noble. I'm in close proximity to a university. I'm actually in a kind of like an upscale, newer shopping center. And when people hear all those things, they hear risk, right? They hear upscale, high cost, right? They think you're going to pay a lot per square foot. And they would be correct. I'm paying at the top of our market around here, or close to the top. I'm not paying as much as people who are in downtown Williamsburg, like in Colonial Williamsburg. They are paying much more than everyone else around here, astronomically more in most cases, than the rest of us, almost double in some cases. But that's not the point. The point is, like, I was able to position myself in a mildly more affordable area, but still maintain that upper end shopping experience. Why did I choose this? Well, I wanted foot traffic, plain and simple. I wanted people to walk by my store and find my store. And one of the absolute smartest decisions I made when it came to location was understanding that people were going to see my store when they left other stores. And who are those other stores? Well, I happen to be across the parking lot from World Market, Five and Below, Michael's. I'm next to a Chicken Salad Chick restaurant. I'm next to a cupcake restaurant, and I'm next to a Pilates studio and a Noodles and Company. So there's a mix of food, there's a mix of fitness, there's a mix of crafting, there's a mix of home goods, and wouldn't you know it, the primary demo, shopping in most of those types of businesses, matches my primary demo. Women between 30 and 65, right? So it worked, right? And it's a high traffic area. There's people coming in and out of here all day long, every day of the week. Now, I'm here to get a certain percentage of that shopping center traffic. So I'm telling you this because I had options before I came here, right? I could have rented a house that had been converted into a business that was along a major business road, but I would have been a standalone business, not surrounded by a lot of those other types of businesses I just mentioned to you. I could have leased a space in a lower rent area with less foot traffic and maybe less alignment to my demographic, and it would have reduced my monthly bills a little bit. But how much would I have sacrificed foot traffic? How much visibility would I have lost? I kind of picked the perfect spot, honestly. There's people that visit this area and they search for a bookstore, but they're also searching for like a place to buy things, right? Like, so when people from out of the area, tourists or people from the surrounding cities, think about coming to Williamsburg, they think about coming here for certain things. Part of it is World Market. They really like coming to this World Market. And so the people that are coming into town to visit World Market, they're also visiting us. People that are visiting the local shopping and want to stop for lunch, they look at all the options. Chicken Salad Chick is a very popular option for lunches around here. I'm open during those same times. It's a great idea. I'm not open during most business hours, during most dinner hours for restaurants. So it would have made less sense for me to open next to a restaurant that does the vast majority of their business during the dinner hours, right? So it all seems very logical and common sense, right? Like now, but then I was thinking about it going, man, I don't know, like who do I want to be next to? And I think I really kind of lucked out in many ways of finding a space open in a shopping center that met all the needs I needed. And you're not going to find the perfect place usually. You may, but not usually. But you need to find a place that is really, really strong. And I cannot stress to you enough how much being in a populated and well-trafficked shopping center has helped me. One last point before we wrap up. All those other elements, the tech, the suppliers, the support team, events, operating tempo, all that stuff. is really important, obviously, and we're gonna address that in a future video. But I really think that if you take one day to go through these 3 items of what type of format you want to be, where your location is, the benefits, the demographics, all that stuff, just get it identified, write down all your options, and then eliminate the ones that you can exclude right off the top. You know, eliminate locations that aren't perfect for you. Eliminate a format that might be compromising your ability to succeed. Eliminate demographics that are honestly just not your primary customers or even your secondary customers. And focus on the ones that matter. Focus on these elements that matter. Focus on things that will move your business forward with confidence. All that does, or what that does, is it reduces your risk. And it gives you more confidence moving forward in the rest of your business planning. When you know who you are, you know how to step forward. You know how to move into establishing your business. And so it's imperative that you nail these things down before you worry about how you're going to get books and what type of point of sale system you're going to use and what your operating hours should be and all that stuff, right? Get these key things out of the way first. It's going to make a world of difference for you in your planning. And since we've talked about doing this within a week, I think you could get this identified within 1 to 2 days. And don't listen to everyone around you that's never owned a bookstore. Like, oh, I'm thinking about opening here. What's the pros and cons of that? Yeah, sure, ask the questions and get their feedback. But if someone tells you, I would never do that, or, you know, can a bookstore even succeed? I've got some news for you. I got all those naysayers in my life up front as well. They weren't my parents. My parents were super supportive. My wife was super supportive. In fact, they oftentimes helped me see things more clearly when my heart wanted something more than my logic did, right? Like, I'm like, well, maybe we could make this location work. No. They were real good about being like, I don't think it's a good idea. You need to surround yourself with people that are helpful, but you also need to hear all the different opinions. And just understand that you should take them all with a grain of salt and you should listen to them, but you should not trust or believe all of them, okay? It's gonna be a little controversial saying that, but it's true. I'll give you one example before I wrap this thing up. So I had a lawyer, excellent lawyer, and I asked them if they would review my lease, which is a whole thing, right? Like, that'll be a topic for another video for sure. Can you help me review my lease and then help me counter offer on my lease so that I can get this thing moving forward? Yeah, sure, they got me. We sit down to meet, and the very first question they asked was, why are you opening a bookstore? Does anyone even really read anymore? Isn't that kind of risky? How much money can you make? Like, all these questions, right? And I mean, in the back of my mind, those questions have been running. I don't feel like it's as risky as they do. I feel like I could make more money than they probably think I could. And then he says, you know, there's like a Barnes & Noble a half mile away, right? And I just smiled and realized at that question that I understood more about this business and how to run a book business because of the strength of my identity. I'm going to be selling books that Barnes & Noble won't carry. I have a lot of indie presses and indie publishing houses and independent authors that I sell that I know Barnes & Noble could get, but they don't necessarily stock or carry regularly. I knew that. So when that question came out, I just kind of smiled and was like, oh yeah, I know they're right down the street. I know the people that run it. They're great people. And I love having that Barnes & Noble there. And in fact, we're kind of complement each other. I'm banking on getting some of their traffic, in fact. And I could see the disbelief in his face, in his eyes. But he just looked at me and went, okay, man, I just wouldn't, establish this business as something that's going to make you rich one day. And we get to signing paperwork. And I just kind of smiled through the whole thing. And I'm sharing that with you so that you can understand you're not the only one hearing these things. We all heard it. I've had people say, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? No one's sure, man. But I'm pretty confident that I can make this work. I think I've got the right personality for it. I think I've got the right business model. I think I've established the right business identity. I think I've created a cool idea, a place people are going to want to go. And so far, we've been proven right. So just have some confidence that when you do build that identity around your format and your location and your demographic, and you really can see the business, maybe not like right there see it, but you can imagine what it's going to be and how you're going to operate it all those 6 to 7 days a week that you're running it. It's like, When you can see that and you can trust it and believe in it, that's when you have more confidence with moving forward with your business planning. That's when the thing starts to really become like a draw, something that you know you can do. No one can guarantee you success. No one can guarantee you that it's going to work. No one can guarantee you that you're going to make, enough to survive right away. No one can guarantee that you'll have an income that you really need right away. Like, no one can guarantee any of it. No one can guarantee any of it. So don't expect guarantees. Build confidence in contexts and the planning process that you put in place and the partnerships you can establish, and just seeing things with clear eyes. Don't let your heart win every time. Just move forward with I understand who I am and what this is going to be and where it's going to be and who I'm going to serve, and just get planning. Start building these things, and you're going to be so much better off for it. So thanks for checking out the channel. I'm Lucas, owner of Spineless Reads Bookstore here in Williamsburg, Virginia. I'm an author, publisher, and bookseller. And I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. Like, subscribe, all those things, and I'll see you soon.